Or your voice, your vote. Right now, the presidential candidates are fighting for battleground Michigan with only 20 days left until Election Day. President Trump won Michigan back in 2016 by a very slim margin. The state has 16 electoral votes up for grabs. Joining us this morning from Washington is Washington correspondent Joe St. George. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Does Joe Biden need to win Michigan in order to beat President Trump?
Well, good morning. It's no secret that Michiganders know their state matters. As you mentioned, 16 electoral college votes. Every single day there seems to be a visit by a presidential or vice presidential candidate to the state of Michigan, or at least one of their family members. If you look at the map, Joe Biden does have other paths to victory without the state of Michigan. President Donald Trump does as well, but it's much narrower. And I've been talking with Trump campaign officials, Republican officials, and this is why, for Republicans especially, the state of Michigan is so crucial. President Trump, as you mentioned, won Michigan 4 years ago. And if for some reason he lost that auto worker or retired auto worker in Michigan, they probably suspect that he also lost that auto worker or retired worker in Ohio, or perhaps that retired steel worker in Pennsylvania. So there is a lot on the line with Michigan, no doubt, and that's why you're continuing to see all those commercials, all that money spent in Michigan this morning.
Now, let's talk about turnout. Of course, that's going to be a key factor in any election. Last election, 2016, it was a 10,000 vote difference between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. How important is the turnout in a place like Detroit for determining who wins Michigan?
So crucial. And if you talk to anyone on the Hillary Clinton campaign and ask them why they lost the state of Michigan, they'll say it was turnout in Detroit, in Wayne County specifically, even specifically among African Americans. And that is why there is such an effort, especially on the Democratic side, to get the vote out, to remind people to vote. I was just looking at your numbers. I think it's somewhere around 2.8 million people have requested ballots, around 977,000, almost a million Michigan voters have returned their ballot already. That's about 20% or so of all the votes that were cast in the 2016 election. So there are plenty of Michiganders watching this morning who have already checked the box, dropped off their ballot. They're over this election. They want to start focusing on other things, but we still got a long way to go. It's going to be a fascinating 20-plus days in this presidential race, guys.
And before we let you go, we talk about it, and you'll hear the blue wall for Democrats. Part of that wall was the unionized vote. Where does the unionized vote stand in Michigan, and how important is it going to be in determining who wins this state?
Well, if you talk to UAW, right, I mean, they're endorsing Joe Biden, and that's a big group. But if you talk to folks on the front line, assembly workers, and when I was on assignment in Michigan a few weeks ago, they say they're for Donald Trump. So there is this division between the unions, between union leadership pro-Biden and perhaps the union worker, the assembly line worker who's for Donald Trump. We'll see. Going to be a fascinating race. Michigan is crucial, guys.
All right, Joe St. George, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.